Villopoto coming back, bro. Pronto. Just kidding. April Fools. Gotcha. So you guys have just seen the recent interview, and if you haven't seen it, you can go check that out. It's on Swap Moto. Basically, Ryan Villopoto did this whole big spiel, this whole interview saying, I'm going to come back in 2019 and fill in for Aaron Plessinger for the outdoors in the first 2 or 3 rounds until he comes back. He was saying he's got, 7 weeks to train. He's going to do all this stuff, and he's going to get ready, and all. Oh, my God, bro. And the thing about it is, right, is it was so believable. Like, it really is not all that crazy of a stretch for Villopoto to have raced a couple of outdoor races this year. Like, honestly, I was predicting that he was going to do some of that this year in some kind of way. I mean, you just think about all of the racing he did last year. He raced in the Monster Cup. He raced in the Straight Rhythm. The year before that, he raced in the AUS-SX Open. He's done a lot of bigger races, kind of hinting towards that he's trying to make a little bit of a comeback, right? So it really was not all that crazy of a thing to think of Villopoto coming back in and filling in for Plessinger for a couple rounds. That was 1,000% totally believable. But he came out with another video coming clean and saying that, no, it was just a joke. It was April Fool's, right? So I don't really understand this, Villopoto, because I think all you really did here is just disappoint some people. That's all that really happened. Just being completely honest with you, that's really, it wasn't one of those things where it was like, oh, dude, you got me. Oh, man, it's so funny. I thought Villopoto was going to race, and now he's not going to race. It really wasn't like that because of how believable it was. You know what I'm saying? It would have been one thing if, Ricky Carmichael came out on April Fool's Day and said, hey, I'm going to race the whole 2019 Outdoor Series. It's like, oh, okay, Ricky, But, with Villopoto, him racing the Monster Energy Cup, the Straight Rhythm, and the AUS-SX Open, it's like, okay, now this is somewhat believable. It's like, all right, that wouldn't be that crazy of a thing if Villopoto came back and raced a couple races. And just the way he played that off, God, it was like, I'm not going to lie, dude, they had me going. Going. I didn't even really think about it being April Fool's until I started looking down the comments. Like, oh, yeah, it's April Fool's. I was totally 100% believing it. Oh, yeah, Villopoto's going to race a couple races because he was talking about. Now, I will say one part of that interview where I kind of got a little questionable was when Villopoto was talking about getting a podium in the first 3 races. I was like, that does not really sound like Villopoto would be predicting just swinging out there and getting a podium right away. Villopoto at this point would be lucky to get a top 5 in outdoors, you know what I mean? So that's where it kind of threw me off guard a little bit. But, it really wouldn't have been all that crazy of a thing. You understand what I mean? So it was almost like when he came out and said, oh, it's just April Fool's, it was really just like, wow, okay, that was kind of dumb. It was like, yeah, you tricked a lot of people, but it's like, you're kind of getting back into the racing scene. Let's just be honest. For you to go out there and race the Monster Energy Cup, you're not just farting around to go race the Monster Energy Cup. You know what I mean? I can understand that if you're going to race the Straight Rhythm on 2 strokes only. It's like, oh, yeah, you're just jacking around on a 2-stroke. You know what I mean? But to go race the Monster Energy Cup, it's on a 450 alongside Tomac and all those dudes. It's like, you're a little bit more legit at that point. You're a little bit more serious about it if you're going to go out there and race the Monster Energy Cup, unless they just decided to pay you $1 million to come out and do it. I don't know what the case was on that, but Villopoto, you got to understand, you're kind of giving that impression that you're kind of trying to come back a little bit. I don't know. I remember making a video 4 or 5 months ago where I was saying, you're probably, I know a lot of people was getting hyped up thinking Villopoto is going to come back for this year's Supercross season. And I was saying, even back then, I was like, he's probably not going to race in the Supercross series. I was saying, if you see Villopoto on anything AMA actual, full-blown series in 2019, it would be a couple of the outdoor races. I actually literally said that in a video. So it's crazy for him to come in here and do this whole April Fool's joke like this. Because it's like, dude, Villopoto, we've already seen you on TV racing in the Monster Energy Cup. It's not like, oh my God, Villopoto coming back. You've already kind of came back, kind of sort of a little bit, just not in an actual full-blown AMA, title, being outdoors or Supercross. So I don't know. This is super bizarre. I don't really like. I guess what I'm trying to get at is if it would have been a little more obvious that you, like, let's say Villopoto hasn't ran any races. Like, he didn't do the Monster Energy Cup, didn't do the Straight Rhythm, didn't do SSX Open, none of that stuff, and he just came out and said, hey, I'm coming back for 2019 Outdoors for a couple races. Then that would have been a little bit more understandable on that being an April Fool's joke and like, haha, oh, okay, you got us, Villopoto. That would be cool if you did that, but April Fool's, that's never going to happen. But you, like, getting so back into everything and then doing an April Fool's joke on it, I don't know, just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then him in that interview talking about, you know, if I do really well, maybe I can get on the team for the rest of the year, like have a third rider to be on the Yamaha team for the rest of the year, and him being on the new team, and it just made sense for him to go out there and maybe be in a little, you know, couple round fill-in rider for the new Yamaha team, and him being on that team. It just, I don't know, it was weird. Like, it all made sense if that would have been real. You get what I'm saying? And then him to just come out here and say it's April Fool's, like, well, all right. The Motocross series is not going to be quite as exciting now. Okay, cool. Good one. It's like, damn it. So either way, I don't know what it is about, like, nowadays Supercross and Motocross, but it's just not the same as it was back in the days of Villopoto, Stewart, Carmichael, Dungey, Reed in his prime, right in those days. It's just not the same nowadays, man. With a lack of a better term, it's just boring watching it now compared to how it used to be back then. I don't know. It's like back then you just had so many more, it seemed like polar opposite different riding styles, and like so much more excitement and hype around it, and I don't know, so much more personality. Like, you knew Stewart was going to go wicked. No matter what track it was on, you knew Stewart was going to hit some kind of stewable quad line that probably no one else was going to hit. So that was always exciting kind of in the back of your mind, right? Then you had Villopoto, which was like this super smooth but wicked, like water flowing down a river, right? Like wicked fast. And he would hit some big lines too if he had to, but he was just a wicked, awesome, good racer and then champion. And once he had, you know, 2-3 Supercross titles, after the second one and going into that 2013 season, it was like a lot of anticipation and pressure, and can Villopoto do it for the third time? Then it was, can Villopoto do it for the fourth time, you know? So there was all that excitement. Then you had Dungey back there, super consistent, you know, get a podium every race, never win a race, and damn near win the championship. Like, and then Reed would go in there and have that curveball in there. It just doesn't have that same feeling nowadays. I don't know what it even is exactly. Like, if I could try to make it like the excitement it was back then, nowadays, it would be like if somehow you could make, you know, when Tomac's riding really good on a track and it's like unbelievable, oh my god, Tomac's wicked, like he did in those past 2 years of Supercross streaks. If you could have that going in every single race, and then have him up there racing with Webb, battling it out with Webb in the front, and you somehow was able to like put a NOS boost on Osborne on the 450, and then put Cincerillo in there on the 450, and he was wicked, and all those dudes were together racing really hard at the front or something cool like that. That would give you some kind of sort of the same level of excitement of what I'm talking about back in the days of Villopoto, Stewart. Still probably not even to that level, but you see the difference though, whereas nowadays the way it is, the tracks are so basic, like everybody's hitting the same exact rhythm. Literally, like there's hardly any quads on any of the Supercross tracks this year, whereas back in the day of Villopoto and Stewart, it seemed like there was a quad on every single track that only Stewart and Villopoto was hitting, you know what I mean? So that was so much fun to watch that. I feel like they over-prep the tracks now. They dig them down too far. They get too ruddy, too gnarly, which basically just equals everybody going slower and hitting the exact same line every lap. Everybody's hitting the exact same rhythm every single lap. And you pretty much know where everybody's going to go before they even go there. You know what I mean? Whereas back then, it's like the tracks weren't quite as ruddy, most of them. A little bit smoother. You go a little bit faster, hit a little bit bigger rhythms and lines and stuff. I just felt like it was funner to watch back then all the way around. The tracks were more fun. They could open up the bikes a little bit more speed-wise, throttle. The riders were more fun to watch. I feel like the pressure, just having, like, you know, having somebody like a Dungey there, right? And then having Stewart, which is the polar opposite of a Dungey, you know, Stewart's either like wreck or win, and Dungey's like one of those guys that's just going to get a podium every single race and be right there in the championship. Then you had Villopoto right in the middle of Dungey and Stewart, I feel like, as far as how he rode. You know, he had that like wicked fast speed. He would hit some huge Stewart lines, but he also had the consistency champion aspect to him as well. So you had all those different kind of riders. Like you had every kind of rider that you would have in real life racing at the front every single time you watched a pro motocross or supercross race. So much fun to watch. Then you had obviously Reed more in his prime back then, throwing a curveball in, doing crazy stuff with Stewart and all that. It was fun to watch those battles too, you know. But yes, it's bizarre. I don't know. Ever since Villopoto left, and then Dungey was still kind of there at the end. Now he's gone. It's just lost a certain feeling it used to have, and I mean, I certainly think Tomac is probably the closest rider to getting that kind of feeling back. You know what I mean? But even him, he's kind of fell off a little bit this season in Supercross. Not really sure what's going on with him, but he's not doing those same like 7-8 streak race Supercross crazy, you know, Tomac that we know. I don't know if it's injury, don't know if it's the bike. I don't know. Obviously, had the injury at the beginning of the season, but yeah, back then, man, that Stewart, he was something else, boy. He was fun to watch. There's no doubt about it. It took a certain amount of fun out of it, taking Stewart out of the mix. You just never knew what you were going to get, you know, when it was Stewart, Villopoto, Dungey, Reed, all those kind of guys in there. That's just so fun to watch. And to be completely honest with you, like, I don't know if it's the way the tracks are built now or what it is, but it really doesn't look like they're going all that much faster than they did back in those days. Like, I mean, there's a lot of times that I'm sitting there thinking, damn, I think Villopoto in his prime in 2013 could have whooped their asses on this track if you could somehow, like, put that Villopoto on that track racing them nowadays in the modern day. It just seems like that would be the case, but I don't know, man. We'll see what happens when, you know, Cinderella goes 450 and Webb kind of improves himself. We'll see if Barsha can pull something out, but yeah, really bizarre little April Fool's joke there, Poto, though. A little weird, dog. Weird to the point of, like, it was actually so believable that now it's just like, oh, well, that's disappointing. I mean, literally, I'm sitting here thinking in my head, like, oh, that's possible for Villopoto to, you know, race in a supercross race or a motocross race in 2020. Like, that would not shock me at all if Villopoto decided to do that. It really wouldn't shock me in the slightest. So now I don't know what the hell. I guess he's not going to race any more actual full-blown, you know, AMA series like Supercross or Motocross. I guess this is kind of him saying, hey, guys, you know, April Fools, I'm never actually going to race again on that kind of stuff. I'm just going to mess around on the straight rhythm and crap like that. I guess that's what he's kind of saying. I don't know. Really bizarre. But either way, dude, just want to come in here and talk about that a little bit. So yeah, yes, wanted to just confirm, some of you Villopoto lovers out there, just an April Fool's joke. Would have been awesome to see him come out for a couple rounds, but like, that would be so cool if that was true, you know, and then him just coming out saying it's not true. It's like, shit. It's just disappointment, like, in every way, you know what I mean? Even if he wasn't going to do that good, you know, like, Villopoto probably would have got like somewhere between a 5th and a 10th. If I could just, like, predict what he would do on the Yamaha nowadays, that's probably about where he would be. He'd be lucky to get, like, top 5, I would say. Until, obviously, maybe if he got in there and raced, like, 5 or 6 races, he might be able to do a little better. If he was still on his Kawasaki, he'd probably do a little better. But on his Yamaha, I think he'd be lucky to get a top 5. He'd probably get, like, an 8th, 9th, 10th, or what, kind of like where he finished in the Monster Energy Cup. That's probably where he would be at. And they would tear him up long-term fitness-wise, you know what I mean? I was, like, thinking in my head, I was like, okay, Villopoto, dude, you got 7 weeks before Hangtown. You can do it, bud. Get back on that training. Come on, man. Don't let Tomac tear you up at the end, you know what I'm saying? I was literally, like, thinking that in my head, like, oh, dude, if Villopoto can come back, if he's going to go out there and race with all the boys, I can do anything. You know, I was getting all these, like, inspirational feelings and shit, and it's like, oh, it's just April Fool's, dog. Don't worry about it. God dang it, Poto. God dang it. And the whole, like, thing was, like, they were trying to bring a bunch of people to the whole Swap Moto website and get a lot of flow of people to that come on, dog. Let's just be truthful here. 99.99% of us guys just hopped on there to look at the Villopoto interview, and then we hopped right back off of that website. I mean, let's just be honest. That's exactly what happens. I don't really know if that brought a lot of people to the website, really, but, you know, it is what it is. So I don't know if we'll ever see Poto on another actual national. I think he said he was going to race some of the 125 Dream races again. He'll probably do, like, you know, Washougal, certain stuff like that. So we'll probably be able to see him on that, but I don't know if we're really going to see him race, you know, full-blown 450 in an actual championship scenario. I mean, I thought it was kind of weird for him to do that. It's like, why retire if you're going to come back? Because then you start messing up your, you know, all your stats and your percentages and because you're obviously not going to be the same rider when you come back. I don't know if there's ever been a motocross or supercross rider be at the tippity top of the slope and then totally retire for like multiple years and then come back and be back where they were at. I don't think that's ever actually happened, has it? I don't know. But I mean, Villopoto still is young. It's not like he's super old. He got out of it pretty quick, but still, even on top of all that, it's just so, like, kind of goes against everything you do coming back like that. But I wouldn't just 100% totally rule it out. I'm about 99.999% sure James Stewart's never coming back. You know, actually, I take that back. I'm 100% sure James Stewart's never coming back. But, like, with Villopoto, I literally am like, I've got like I would say it's like 40% chance Villopoto come back and race an outdoor or a supercross race. Literally, that's what I think right now. Whereas like Stewart, it's like 0% chance coming back. Dungey, there's probably like a 10% chance he'll come back and race a race. Highly doubt Dungey would come back. But Villopoto, like him getting back into the scene and everything, it's like, dude, like you just played such a weird thing on our mental when you did that. Because it literally made it seem like you were working up to this all last year. Like, man, wouldn't that be cool? Villopoto come back and race an outdoor. It wouldn't even be that crazy. Like, it wouldn't even be that much of a shock if you did. I guess that's what I'm getting at with the whole April Fool's thing. You coming out here and saying, oh, Villopoto's going to be racing in an outdoor race is like, okay, I kind of already expected that, but that's cool. You know, it wasn't like, oh my God, that's so insane. Oh, you got us, April Fool's. It wasn't really like that. It was more like, oh, okay, cool, Villopoto. You kind of worked up too. You're going to go race a couple outdoor races? Sick, dog. And it was like, April Fool's. So it was like, oh, okay. All right then. I don't know. I think Villopoto might have misjudged that a little bit on how people were going to perceive that. I don't know. I just think he was off a little bit on that because it was so like that wouldn't even be that crazy. That's why it didn't even really register to me it being an April Fool's thing at all. I mean, I was like, oh, okay, Villopoto going to race a couple races, cool. Just how they played it off, I don't know. It's bizarre, but either way, if they were trying to get me, they got me, so good job on that, but I'm just more disappointed now. That's all there really is to it, so, but either way, dudes, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later.